Now please join me in welcoming our next resource. Professor Latika Sharma is Professor, Department of Education, Punjab University, Chandigarh, and also having additional position as Punjab University NEP Coordinator. Her creative initiative for the university include creation of content for Jyotirgamya, a PU community radio. Dr. Latika has an impressive research profile with numerous publications in reputed journals. She has contributed significantly through research projects, books, and guidance to PhD and MD scholars. She has also presented her work at various national and international platforms. So after learning about Professor Latika's remarkable achievements, I now invite ma'am to enlighten us with her lecture. Before that, we would like to extend a floral welcome to Professor Latika Sharma. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Yes.
Greetings to everyone in this esteemed hall, which has housed so many academic feasts here and inspired generation after generation. I'm privileged to be standing in Guru Sar Sudhar's prominent college, which has sent out learned men and women to excel in their fields of endeavors. Today, we are very fortunate that Northwestern Regional Center, ICSSR, has sponsored a very relevant topic for today's seminar, also commemorating Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's legacy as Iron Man, a chance for all of us to remember him, a chance to deliberate about what are we doing, how are we doing it, and how we can do it better. I would like to thank Dr. Pargat Singh, principal of the college, convener Dr. Dr. Ranuji, who has been my colleague and friend for a long time. Dr. Rakesh Baba, it was a pleasure listening to you. I was looking forward to listening and not get late for your lecture. Dr. Jaspal, Dr. Varun, Dr. Mini, and my esteemed colleagues and dear students who have gathered here for this seminar today. It is really interesting to note that the organizers had allotted me a topic long time back, and they had given me such a long time to prepare for it. But even till the last moment, I feel that I am yet not prepared to fully deliberate on the topic higher education and sustainable development, because both the terms are evolving. The context in which we place higher education or the term sustainable development, is it a Western concept? Is it our local context? How do we understand higher education for a student who has just come out of school? Higher education is college mein dakhla milega ya nahi milega. For a student who has finished his post-graduation, is looking at PhD karna hai, entrance test dena hai, kisi job mein jana hai. Further education to enrich life education as leisure, education for research, education for employability. Higher education means so many different things to different demographic levels. As per socioeconomic status, age level, aspirations, and so on. Global forces giving us the Millennium Development Goals or the Sustainable Development Goals. Where does UN stand today? These are questions for each one of us as we see wars break out, as we see migration, climate change, as we see young people delaying their milestones, not getting married, not getting admission in the course of their choice. So on one side, we have aspirations and desires. On the other side, we have limited venues where we can get them. Plus complexity of our emerging society in which the old and the new is giving cultural lag. Here comes the masala of technology. Technology has opened so many doors to information that young or old, we do not know how to hold the glass, which is so full and brimming and overwhelming. How much to drink and how much not to drink. So this is the situation with media coming and distracting us from simple living. In this context, how to live a simple life? Sir had said, live a worthy life. How to lead a simple life is also fraught with challenges. Challenges of distraction, challenges of expectations, challenges of self-esteem, challenges of what will the society say and how will I show my face to my parents. In this context, with these very clear realities, we are sitting in this hall today. And we all live this. So I think when we join our heads on these issues, we are the ones who have to bring out the solutions also. Somebody once said, is life a problem to be solved? Because over the years, after reading John Dewey's approach and problem-solving method of teaching and learning, somewhere every day became like, आज क्या क्या चीज़ों को मैं solve कर देना है. And research problem is also something solution oriented. So when we are saying yes, we are part of the solution, somewhere we are acknowledging there is always a problem. So is life a problem? We need to even address this question when we are talking about sustainability. Sustainability, where does the word come from? When I was organizing the previous Global Alumni Meet, the tagline was a collaborative approach towards sustainability and excellence. This was the tagline. And we had invited the governor of Gujarat, our distinguished alumnus from Punjab University. And one of the requirement was to translate every word into Hindi. So we had to have a document in Hindi. And it was so difficult to come out with a real translation, not just, changing the words from English to Hindi. So this sustainability came as Vayanita, Vayanita. This word I had never heard in Hindi also. So for a common man, the word has to be something which is comprehensible. So when we are talking about sustainability, we have to consider our own context and then planet Earth. Then we realize how interconnected we are. Whatever thoughts you are getting, are they your thoughts or are they echoing from what you have been hearing, listening, reading? Others have been telling you, images have been impinged on your mind. What is it? So even sustaining an idea for 2 minutes is part of sustainability. And in the higher education structure, we are sitting here with certain very clear agendas of teaching, research, and extension, right? Teaching, research, and extension. Higher education would mean do research for generation of new knowledge or understanding the evolving knowledge in new contexts. Teaching is dissemination of knowledge, and extension is application of knowledge in our different fields where we're taking knowledge from classrooms to the society and also from the society back into the classrooms. Hence, all these examples which I gave, all that is happening in life outside the classroom is very much part of our thinking minds, listening minds, as we are connecting some new information with our own experiences, right? So when the topic is higher education and sustainable development, we analyze these terms and we move ahead. So a PowerPoint was stitched together for reference point only. It is not the last word on anything. So I've given the topic, given myself the topic as given by the house to me, and आप next slide लगा दें. अगर ये नहीं चलेगा तो I'll start from there. Is there only one slide? Okay, so I try to refer from where, when I was a student, the term sustainability was not there. The term development was there. So we all had to have a development mindset. Development means that things are moving in the progressive direction. And in our civics books, we used to write challenges to development and progress. And there was poverty, hunger, lack of law and order, and many such things, lack of resources, and so on. That changed over a period of time. From my civics classes in school, I came to an era which became an era of plenty. Earlier there was one toothpaste, now there are large number of brands for toothpaste. So the era of choices came. With the era of choices, with era of more information, with era of more visibility to things, now we can choose. ये लेना है, वो लेना है. कौन सा कोर्स करना है, कौन सा कोर्स कहाँ लेके जाएगा. And somewhere the mindset became so linear. Thank you so much. Mindset became so linear that this point A must connect to point B. अगर वो नहीं हो रहा तो there is, but life is never linear. Life doesn't give you one-to-one solution. It is not an objective type question which has only one right answer. And because of that, when we started chalking out our paths in a very rigid way, we forgot to enjoy life and actually live life wholesomely. And we started looking for why this solution is not coming. And that gave to another phenomena of stress, tension, anxiety, and so on. So these are psychosocial correlates of higher education, which the department is researching on. And we are trying that higher education institution with its goal for excellence in human endeavor should actually lead to a sustainable life, a sustainable planet, where the society is also growing in terms of better environment, better economic zones, and better social life. At the same time, the human being also survives. So when I looked up the literature on sustainability, it shows three pillars. The term came somewhere in 1987, and it had a specific focus. It is like a post-development realization that development should not lead to such a world which is not harming the future generations, then it is a sustainable development. Simple terms, आज अगर हम कोई कुआं खोद रहे हैं, खड्डा खोद रहे हैं जहाँ पे हमने कुछ बनाना है, पर वो खड्डा ऐसा ना हो जिसमें आगे वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए दिक्कत हो जाए. So अगर हम इस तरह से अपनी डेवलपमेंट को आगे लेके जा रहे हैं तो वो सस्टेनेबल है, अदरवाइज वो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट नहीं है. So my talking points are around this, that there is a global urgency around climate change and sustainability. Climate change is something which doesn't seem to be in our hands so much. We have already passed the stage where we can control anything in the climate. But yes, how to live with the climate changes, that we have to think about. Then role of education in shaping sustainable mindsets. When you're talking about sustainable mindsets, We're talking about how to be resilient, how to cope. Education is not just history and not just score. जो हो चुका है केवल उसी की बात करके उसमें नंबर ले लेना, that is not education. So when we're talking of sustainable mindset, it is like the dance of democracy. It is like you are always agile and you are looking at अब next क्या होने वाला है and be prepared for that. So science and technology are actually helping us to now, if you go anywhere, you see the route, you see the climate, आज बारिश होगी, बजे बारिश होगी, and so on. So these kind of inputs are giving us, sustainable and resilient kind of attitude in which we are prepared to face whatever is coming. And we have data and data analysis, which is helping us to predict to a certain extent. Then in this Save the Planet mission, save the universe, save humanity, higher education is of critical concern, particularly because it is the adult population which is coming to the higher education. See, when you are children, it is the adult counterparts who are in the decision making chairs. So they are taking all the decisions and they can pull your ear, they can reprimand you, they can control you in giving something to you or not giving something to you. And that is how they are channelizing your behavior. But when you are in higher education, it is the other way around. You have to take decisions. You are the decision makers. And the choices that you are going to make are affecting not only you, but you are very much aware and you are made of. There's those who are adults, be their parents. Take the family unit. No parent will knowingly make a mistake regarding the child. They're taking the best decision that they can at that point of time. Similarly, a group of people responsible for a state, for an institution, for a family, they will not knowingly take wrong decisions to harm. But then, if there is not much forethought put into it, sometimes certain decisions are considered mistakes of the past. They are considered mistakes. So intelligent people, intelligence itself is how your ability to look at the situation and give the best possible solution. So in this highly intelligent era with artificial intelligence helping you to churn out many more things, from which again your critical thinking will pick up what is best for you in such an era, you are building up sustainable mindsets. My fourth point would be regarding the Indian ethos rooted in sustainable consciousness, which Dr. Rakesh Babaji had also pointed out that when he was talking about Indian thinkers and Indian leaders, he said that not particularly one person was working in one area, but it is the entire Indian ethos, which was life integrated education, which was not a score centered education, it was life integrated education. When we are talking about life integrated education, that would mean how to live a worthy life. In Punjabi terms, banda banna. Teacher is respected by the parent for one thing. I'm trying my best. You are my co-partner in making a banda out of my son. And banda banna would mean that knows how to carry himself and then be an active, responsible citizen, be a good social member of the society. If this much is done, a lot is achieved. I would also deal with the sustainable development goals here. As you know, that we began with Millennium Development Goals at the turn of the century. And then UN gave the Sustainable Development Goals. When you write UN and sustainable in capital, it becomes unsustainable goals. So I removed the UN. When I saw this, and I liked that part that you are, can you start the next video, please? There are 17 SDGs. Do you remember which एक इसमें लिंक था, अगर नहीं लग चला तो कोई बात नहीं, विल डू द नेक्स्ट वन. Control V, just see. Thank you. It gave you the goals in a jumbled form. Okay. It is for you to decide what comes first for you, what comes later for you. It begins with no poverty. I think for many of us, it would start with maybe no hunger. For some, it would be clean water first. So in these 17 goals, you have life above the water and life on earth and life under the water also. Okay. So see, the gamut of sustainable development goals is quite big, but each and every component is to be executed by good human beings. Good human beings who have 21st century skills. This is the baseline of my entire talk. Okay, we go to the next one. Why is sustainable development to be talked about at higher education level? Because education is the driver for social, environmental, and economic change. It is also the driver for human character, because when you have come out of your homes and villages and towns into a bigger space where so many different individuals from different backgrounds are there, what you will retain from your previous experiences, what new you will allow to enter in your mind space. Some filter, some background, some strength of character is going to determine that, right? क्या नया सीखना है और क्या नहीं करना है, ये बहुत जरूरी है. So when you are talking about social, environmental, and economic change, at that time, education spaces are giving you multidisciplinary education. They're also giving this experience through different modes. You have a smart classroom, you have a playground, you have a swimming pool, you have a common mess where you are sitting together and eating and drinking. You have the football match, you have the quiz, and you have interesting lectures by your teachers who are always motivating you, whose language is to prompt you into thinking, whose, whose language is to make you more curious, to make you know about various resources from where you can find your answers, and also to give you precautions, what not to do, where not to go. It may be difficult for you to come out, right? So education is a driver of social, environmental, and economic change. We see that whether it is the new policy, whether it is our education in the ancient times, these three are the pillars, but one pillar which is not there in popular literature nowadays is character building. That is where we remember Sardar Patel again and again. When you think of Sardar Patel, you think of him stitching the states together, unity man, and also strong willed. How many of us have that strong will? If you keep this one leader in mind, you will be reminded of him when you have to take difficult decisions. If the decision is worth sticking to, you will stick to it, because there was one Sardar Patel who believed in his mission and did it. So the human factor in this point too is to be added by all of us in higher education. Then need for systems thinking and long-term vision. Today is an era when we are using management principles of strategic planning. Everywhere we are talking about strategies. Many of us who are poets and artists do not like this at all. We are people of our whims and fancies, and we want to go along with the observance of the times. But when it comes to strategic planning, students are being taught about it, how to plan, how to do time management, how to take your decision for a short-term goal and for a long-term goal. This is what we need to incorporate in our value-added courses and skill enhancement courses, so that the student is not missing out on deadlines and is also able to deliver his own uniqueness to every assignment which he or she is submitting. Then responsibility of institutions to model sustainable practices, which we continue to do. Today also there is a board of studies meeting and Dr. Pargat is here, but every time we are looking at curriculums, because ultimately it is the curriculum which is going to be disseminated to the students. Curriculum has to be very strong. So teachers have to have a very strong vigil about what is coming to us to teach. Then next part is their very personal part, how to teach. How to teach part is something on which you keep on working. Then we are doing all this to empower students to become global citizens. In this, when we are talking about role of universities for sustainable development, we just keep one line in mind, that meeting present needs without compromising future generations. So when we are talking about compromising future generations, it would mean that whatever we are doing today is for the good of many, but we also have a foresight about what can go wrong in the long term if such a decision is taken. So that kind of sustainability has to be built in. So universities are hubs of innovation and social responsibility, as you know, that in the higher education institutions, even in this college, we have sciences where innovation and innovative minds are working together. Innovation does not mean a multi-crore lab in some posh city. Innovation happens in the fields. जो मारुता चलाते हैं, जो मोटरसाइकिल के साथ में पूरी रेडी जूस बार की लगा लेते हैं, वो भी तो इनोवेशन है. जिन्होंने एक easy to transport, very easy and disposable technique for testing blood in tribal areas, उसको डिवाइस कर लिया है, जो जिसके लिए कोई सोफिस्टिकेटेड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स नहीं चाहिए, वो ब्लड टेस्ट हो जाता है, उसका पैरामीटर्स पता चल जाते हैं पेशेंट के, उससे कितनी ज्यादा हेल्प होती है. तो इस तरह के जो सॉल्यूशंस ऑन द ग्राउंड हैं, वो जो भुक्तभोगी हैं, जो सिचुएशन को देख रहे हैं और जिनके पास साइंटिफिक एक्यूमेंट है, वो लोग ऐसी इनोवेशंस हर जगह कर रहे हैं. आपको और मुझे कितनी पता है, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. कितनी डॉक्यूमेंट हो रही हैं, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग. सो if you see anyone innovating anything, finding a solution at his own level, in his farm, in his kitchen, in his backyard, on his tractor, with a clock, with just walking, because now you have power generation by cycling also. So all these little innovations have come because necessity was the mother of invention. So that is how we always look towards innovation and social responsibility. When we are talking about social responsibility, one particular thing has to be said, that a time has come when higher education institutions have become places where we have another uh, line of work which has started, that is of political activism. As long as it is with a social responsibility, it is fine. Otherwise, disturbing the academic environment of institutions, just on the point of political activism, which is about minor issues to disrupt academic atmosphere, that should not be there. So social responsibility would mean that inculcating a sense of good of the larger people, of inclusivity, of harnessing resources, of making judicious use of time. These kind of values if we can inculcate, then we are saying that universities are actually dispensing with their work of excellence in education. Now, higher education drives SDG awareness and solutions. These points I think I've already covered. Fosters interdisciplinary research and outreach and prepares for global peace and prosperity. The aim of global peace and prosperity is not which every department is doing as a purposeful one-year project. It is not a short-term or a major research project. It is a long-term goal which higher education institutions have to foster, and it comes, as G.R.D. Tata says, through every step of the work which you are doing. If you are taking forward every step of your work with perfection, excellence will come. If you are not able to, if you are stumbling, if you do not want to revisit your mistakes to make them proper, then this goal is far away for us. Now, in the Indian context, sustainability is encapsulated in one word. आपका धर्म क्या है? There's only one word for sustainability, for Vayanita, for me, and I think you will understand it in the word, in this one word, dharma. Dharma is that मुझे ये तो करना ही है. Nobody is telling me. It is my moral duty to do it, like looking after my father, or taking care of my child, or keeping my classroom clean, or completing my homework, whatever, at whichever stage of life you are. If you are a husband, you are taking care of your wife. If you are a child, you are taking care of the roles which your parents are giving to you, and so on. So in the Indian context, when we say education is life integrated, then life is education, education is life. And that is how dharma is not different from education. It is something which you learn by observing, where all the three modes come in. Informal, non-formal, and formal, all three modes of learning come when you are understanding learning dharma. You go to any religious place, you go to Golden Temple, how every child who is standing in the Pangat is able to recite the Shabad which is going on the loudspeaker. They know it because they hear it in their homes also. Similarly, what to do, how to do, which others are also following, how social norms are formed, how the modes of behaviors are formed, are based on the principle of dharma. Is it right? Is it right for all? Then the way you do it can be different, but this is what is required to be done. In this Vasudeva Kutumbakam is one word which is best captured in the English phrase of web of life. Everyone is connected. सारा विश्व, हम सब जीव अजीव, सब चीजें एक ही परिवार की हैं. हम सब एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं. So would you harm your family? You would not harm your family if you believe in this concept. Then in all our traditional practices, we are connected to nature and nature-based practices, where we are considering nature as Ma, the mother, the nurturer. If we are considering nature as mother, then we would not let anyone sully nature, and we would not indulge in such practices which bring wastage, garbage to our rivers, to our forests, and so on. इंडिजिनस नॉलेज विच वी हैव, अभी सर ने इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम की भी बात करी. ये इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम में इसके ऊपर भी, इस फ्रेज के ऊपर भी कई बार कंट्रोवर्सी चलती है कि सिस्टम वर्ड भी आ गया इसमें, और इंडियन नॉलेज क्या कोई नॉन इंडियन नॉलेज भी थी पहले? सो जो हमारी, जब हम इंडियन नॉलेज की बात कर रहे हैं, तो जो भारतीय परंपरा, तो दिस इज द एंटायर इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट एंड द नेबरिंग, right up till your Philippines and Japan also, you have the same way of life. You have the same modes and cultures. If you are watching Korean drama or Chinese drama or Japanese movies, you will see the same kind of family setup where the values and dharma is the same. How you treat each other is almost the same. So in the Bharatiya parampara and on the Indian continent, we hear it is an agriculture based society. It is an agriculture based society, but it is also a udyog based society. Every home had an udyog. There must be many students here जिनके घर में अभी भी दरी बनाने वाली खड्डी है, खेसी बनाने वाली खड्डी है, अपनी मक्खन निकालने वाली चाटी है. All these things which you say, अब मिक्सी आ गई, रेडीमेड कपड़ा इतना मिल रहा है, कौन दरी बनाए? You are not doing it. But that is your traditional way where every home had some hunar, every home had some craft. And that is where again Sardar Patel and Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of craft-based education, which is giving you swavalamban, which is giving you atmanirbharta. So when we are talking about indigenous knowledge, whether it is how we save our water, how we treat our diseases and illness, how we look at farming and our udyog, it is all integrated and self-sustaining. The Gandhian principles of simplicity, non-violence, and mindful and minimal consumption is again related to different sections of the society. As per your needs, how much you are consuming, fine. But in that, there are portions that you have to keep for the society, for the temple, for the road, for your wife, for your old man, for your parents, for your children. So, das bhag, das one is there. The concept is everywhere. So it may be various religions, but the way of life in the Indian subcontinent is very much sustainable. So sustainability is not a new term. But when we have to bring it in the curriculum, हमारे पास कहीं लिखा हुआ नहीं है. इसके बारे में जैसी हमारी सभ्यता है, ऐसी ही पुरानी सभ्यता ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एबोरिजिनल्स की भी है. And they say, why do we have to write it? It is the white man's task to write it. But today's time is document everything. आप कहीं गए सबसे पहले सेल्फी लेते हो, जिस जगह गए उस चीज की कॉपी लेते हो, जब खाना खाया तो उसकी भी कॉपी करके रखते हो कि देखो मैंने आज ये खाना खाया, एंड उसकी कॉपी भेज रहे हो कहीं. तो this documentation has become such feverish fetish nowadays. It wasn't there. There was oral tradition. Oral tradition would mean that somebody is telling and there are others who are listening. In the oral tradition, then whatever you have heard, you take it further. And how well you can take it further, that is the expertise that you have to hone. So oral traditions were there in all ancient cultures. Now we are trying to revive it. We are trying to revive that, okay, enough of too much of information overload, but what can I do? This is also an instrument. So this instrument, how well I can remember, memorize, reproduce, and understand also. Can I explain it also? Then interpretation is different people's different interpretation. So same scene of Ramayana, same story of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, what part of it you interpret in what way? Where you are talking about sacrifice, where you are talking about valor, courage, decision making, commitment. So you can emphasize different values from the same story. That remains to the interpreter, right? And then we are integrating all this in the National Policy of 2020. National Policy 2020 is a document in which aspirations are there. It doesn't give you how, it gives you aspirations. Aspirations which have been collected over the years. While we were getting opportunities to study, you and I, and those older than me, those who have been exposed to a large number of literature, who could listen to learned people, who could visit different places, ज्ञान अर्जित करने के तो बहुत से साधन हैं. अगर आप यात्रा ही कर रहे हैं तो आपको बहुत सारी चीजों के बारे में पता चलेगा. फिर जो यात्रा से आपने सीखा वो आप औरों को बता रहे हैं, right? In all this, how much gets documented becomes part of curriculum because there is a board of studies. So finally, higher education institutions have to somewhere bring it into the classrooms because we have a system where there are large number of students who can benefit if things become part of the curriculum. Hence, certain structures were given. So we know that NEP 2020 talks about holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary education. It promotes experiential learning and innovation. So just taking a cue from where Sir has left, that whether it was moral or social education, it wasn't just written in books. It is experiential. When it is experiential, that means you have observed it, you have lived it, and you have seen the good effects of it. So in experiential learning, you are actually doing or observing, not only observing, you're doing and experiencing things and then theorizing about it. So that would mean कि हमेशा class में ही नहीं बिठाए रखना. कुछ बाहर का भी दिखाना, और जो उनके बाहर के एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं उसके बारे में भी बात भी अगर कर ले, क्योंकि हर छात्र कहीं ना कहीं से कुछ एक्सपीरियंस तो लेके आता है, चाहे वो मीडिया का भी एक्सपीरियंस कुछ हो कि कुछ उसने बहुत खतरनाक देख लिया या बहुत ही थ्रिलिंग उसने कुछ देखा, उसके बारे में उसकी जिज्ञासा है, वो जानना चाहता है, तो उसके बारे में चर्चा किससे करे, कोई बात ही नहीं करता, हर कोई अपनी स्क्रीन पे लगा हुआ है। तो जो आपस में बात करने की भी जो एक परंपरा थी वो भी हमारी कम होती जा रही है। इन such a situation when the family members are not talking to each other, classrooms are the places where we can thrash it all out. So this policy encourages value-based and multidisciplinary education, promotes collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving. When you're talking about collaboration, critical thinking, and problem solving, I'll go back to my point of, is life a problem? Are we only looking for solutions? We realize living a simple life is the most difficult thing these days. Very difficult to say, मुझे किसी आधार कार्ड की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस की जरूरत नहीं है, मैं पैदल चलने में विश्वास करता हूँ, ये मेरा घर है, मैं यहाँ पे खाना बना के खाऊंगा और केवल अपनी बात कहता हुआ सड़कों पे चलना चाहता हूँ, मुझे कोई लाइसेंस नहीं चाहिए। अगर आप केवल इतना भी करना चाहते हैं तो आपके आगे कई सारे चैलेंजेस आएंगे। So for this you would require collaboration. कुछ लोगों को बताना पड़ेगा जो आपकी एडवोकेसी करें कि हाँ ये सज्जन ऐसे ही हैं, इनके लिए, इनके पास जो उच्च विचार है उसके लिए इनको पीपीटी की जरूरत नहीं है, ये वर्बेटिम ऐसे ही बोलेंगे, ये फला संदेश लेके चले हैं। एंड यू सी दैट इन आवर सोसाइटी देयर आर पीपल हु डू साइकिल यात्रा, देयर आर पीपल हु गो राइट फ्रॉम कश्मीर टू कन्याकुमारी ऑन फुट, they take some message along with them. So what do you want to make your mission and how do you want to take it forward? There are different ways. Let such ideas be thrashed in the classroom. किसी ना किसी स्टूडेंट को अपनी पर्सनैलिटी के हिसाब से कोई ना कोई आइडिया छू जाएगा और वो उसी से ही अपना रास्ता ढूंढ लेगा। Classrooms are not for giving lot of information. Classrooms are for just lighting the spark. You just light the spark, वो अपने आप सब कुछ ढूंढ लेंगे। Just provide that threat-free environment. And that is why collaboration, critical thinking, and then further problem solving. It emphasizes education for sustainability consciousness. This term sustainability consciousness has always been there in our normal living. Look back at your grandmothers and great-grandmothers, they always had sustainability consciousness. And that is what they insisted on at home when they said no wastage of grain, no wastage of cloth, a time to rise and a time to sleep. Do not light your bulbs and your lamps for a long time. Only a particular time the lamps and lights will be on, and so on. How much to use? There is no need to have large number of clothes. There is no need to have large number of other things, and so on. So we have become a consumer society in which we have ignored these things, and we need to be more reminded about it. So in such a scenario, we can say that NEP, when it integrates environment education within the course, when it integrates ability enhancement courses, which is to give you language proficiency, it allows you to know and to talk and then to do. We are actually following the 4 pillars of learning: to know, to do, to live together harmoniously, and to be, to get an identity, to feel one with the task which you have chosen. And then the 5th pillar, to be a leader in that area. That means to give back, and then just to give your time to encouraging others to show the path which you have taken. The Indian universities already have environment clubs. They are promoting in their advertisements their green campuses and eco clubs. They're collaborating with NGOs to show how projects which are aimed at sustainability can be promoted. Industry partners. In this era of collaboration, it is not that I know you, so you help me in this, I help you in this. It has to go further than that. So when universities, colleges, they require their application ground and they require funding, they collaborate with government agencies as well as NGOs for their CSR funds, and The focus again has to be on something which will go on. If I am the funding agency, let's say I'm part of the Tata Group, and madam comes to me for a CSR fund. So my priority would be, how will you continue this activity? Is it a one-time thing, or will it be perpetuated? Will it benefit only this batch? Do you have a model in which it can be replicated, or it can be developed or evolved over a period of time according to the needs of the students? Only then I'm going to give you this much money. And that is how it becomes a sustainable practice in CSR also. So community-led models are something that this college is very well aware of, and I'm sure every college and institution in the region is following this. This is just a slide on green campus initiatives, where we are trying to have renewable energy, rainwater harvesting, water segregation, and digitization for reducing paper and energy consumption. These are certain practices where higher education institutions are promoting by doing. अगर अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में ऐसा होगा, तभी जो सिटीजन्स आगे निकल रहे हैं वो अपने घरों में वैसा करेंगे. Then integrating sustainability into curriculum, I think I've already taken this up when I'm saying that SDGs are at all levels of the program, where you are getting these topics and the different modes of teaching into classrooms. Research, innovation, and sustainability. It becomes important to see that just curriculum, examination does not lead to innovation and research. So certain facilities have to be created. That is why incubation centers have been started, where social innovation as well as technological innovation gets a safe space to nurture, to try out, do the hit and trial, and see whether this idea, whether this technology can be propagated or not. Patents and publications are encouraged by the teachers, and there are incentives given in many an institution for this. There are innovation awards. In Punjab University, I can inform you that it is Professor Indupal Kaur from pharmaceutical departments, who is called the Patent Queen of India. She has the largest number of patents, and one of her patents is about haldi. It is about the use of haldi, which your grandmother also used to do to heal a wound. पर किसी ने डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं किया था, उनको पेटेंट बनाना भी आता था, तो उन्होंने उसकी एक्चुअल फार्माकोलॉजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज देखकर और साथ में वो पेटेंट भी तैयार किया. Then community engagement and outreach, something which we all want to do and do sometimes and really enjoy. If you remember your college days or school days, when you were taken outside the classroom or into an old age home or into a park, environment park or a museum, that is where you came to know about different spaces which you had not visited just as a child at home or as a student at school. So when you reach out and see that there are other spaces also where there is human engagement, there is learning, there are topics of interest, then somebody thinks about curating a totally different kind of collection for a new innovative museum. You learn about how to be disciplined outside the institution when nobody is telling you to be quiet or to watch your actions and so on. So NSS, NCC, eco clubs, field-based activities, and collaboration with local bodies for rural sustainability. These are the things how we are engaging our students with the community. Besides this, the digitization of education is helping to take distance education beyond the paper and print media. So MOOCs and webinars on climate literacy for the public, on need-based courses which the students need or the citizens need for capacity building, those are also there. A very innovative course on fire safety is currently there in CDOE. Fire safety course is there for a batch of army personnel who have retired. So they have all the physical fitness and the alertness, and when they do a fire safety course, then they can be of better service to the society. Can you also start such a course? If such a course is there only in one department, would your college like to take such a course for yourself? Do you have certain people? Do you have a need of such a course? Have you ever tried to find out what the local community wants to learn, for which the college can be a hub of learning? So these kind of community connect for higher education institutions are also required in this time when everybody is aspiring to learn. Something very important in this: when you have to look for any research-based activity or any project, you get large number of foreign material. Most of our media, social media, has fun things from Indian citizens. Why the educated people are not uploading for the next generation, which is not talking to us, which will only look at the screen? They are looking for information on the screen. So it is the moral responsibility of every person sitting in this hall to upload something good, create content, and good content which is motivating, which is enabling, which is going to inspire somebody, or tell about some issue which really requires attention and needs collaboration. So such things need to be uploaded on digital media, otherwise we are flooded with all nuisance. And if somebody does a data analysis of what the Indian public is watching, it will be a lot of trash only. So how do we get into that? That if we do not, if we have less of nuisance and more of meaningful content, that means that you don't have to enroll only in a MOOC or go to a webinar. When you switch on for a particular topic, you should get good reels or good digital content which is useful and not destructive in its nature. From policy to practice, the institutional policies on sustainability and climate goals have been created. Mandatory green audits and reporting is part of our governance now. National and international collaboration and funding is available in higher education for taking policy to practice. When you have UNESCO funded, WHO funded, and at the national level, DST funded, UGC and ICSSR funded projects, education that leads to action and impact is emphasized. Outcome-based education is particularly emphasized for this very reason, that while broadening your mental horizons, there should be some, as Sir said, practical output, something which you can actually apply and do. I had listed the challenges. I have a research study here that when education for sustainable development was taught through action-oriented approach, it gave uh, it gave certain outcomes which are in line with the UN goal, that if you are teaching education, if you are teaching with sustainability approach, then students are able to perform better in their life also. So the findings are that the relationship between action-oriented ESD approach and the higher education student sustainability consciousness are related to UNESCO's commitment and conceptualization to it. And that is why the action-oriented approach, which is there, it is important in terms of knowingness, attitude, and behavior. The components of this approach are action taking, student leadership, peer interaction, community involvement, interdisciplinarity. I think all the slides have been talking about it, and this is just one of the researches which is talking about environmental consciousness when teaching the same subject which you had at your foundational stage, EV, जिसको कोई पढ़ाता नहीं था, जिसकी क्लास कोई लगती नहीं थी, जो अपने आप ही पढ़कर अपने नंबर लेने होते थे. अगर उसको एक्शन ओरिएंटेड अप्रोच से पढ़ाया जाता है, then it leads to better impact. So here is this model of sustainability at higher education level in which one pillar is missing. Which one is that? Very close. Yes. Human values. Who will carry out all these tasks? It is your character building, the human values, the individuals who are going to propel the activities and action and strategies for all environmental, social, and economic sustainability. They have to be people of integrity. What are we doing for that? That is why when we are talking about learner-centric approach in our institutions, the approach has to be for the learner, not for the subject, not for the teacher. And here We take learners as our agencies of change, agents of change. अगर उनके अंदर सही आइडिया और सही तरीका बैठ गया, कमिटमेंट आ गई, तो सरदार पटेल बन गए. Active participation, 21st century skills, student-led clubs, ICT and digital platforms. मुझे या let us say सर को और मुझे कम आता है डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म को यूज करना, लेकिन हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को तो आता है. जब वो हमारे साथ बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं, हम उनके थ्रू वो सही कंटेंट क्रिएट करा रहे हैं. तो क्यों करा रहे हैं? हम उनसे बात भी कर पा रहे हैं. जब उनसे बात कर पा रहे हैं, then it becomes a bigger picture. They get the big picture also. Promoting local knowledge and inclusion, recognizing prior learning. Recognizing prior learning is all that to do with indigenous knowledge and promoting universal human values. I request everyone to reflect on this, commit to this, engage in this, collaborate for this, persevere, and experience a huge gratitude for the higher education journey which you have taken so far. Our policy makers, we may blame for certain decisions that they took, but I think we did not do bad in our own lives. We have come so far. अगर आज हम किसी क्लास में बैठ के पढ़ रहे हैं, तो आगे कल को कैसे बेहतर बना सकते हैं? Thank you. I would like to place on record my heartfelt gratitude for everyone's patient listening and for the organizers for inviting me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful and thought-provoking session. The areas you touched at sustainability through dharma and the examples from the immediate environment that you gave and the solutions, practical solutions you provided, they truly enriched our knowledge. Yes, we need to have learner-centered approach if we want to tread on the path that is shown by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Thank you, ma'am.